It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Yeah, Frankie.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we got a lot of questions. I didn't send you my questions, huh? Needed to do that.
Helwani.
I haven't been able, there's a lot it's
typically the moderator.
it's so much with the moderation, it's so much. I didn't actually put them in order. If I'm being honest with you. My usual routine is when I go get my coffee and lunch, my routine, like I've been doing this for years.
Who, me?
3 weeks. Yeah, that's right. It's taking the world by storm, by the way. We need to come out with merch. Who, me merch? Me and Beetlejuice, You know Beetlejuice?
Yeah. Not the one you're referring to.
For real? From the Howard Stern show?
No.
Connor, you know Beetlejuice?
Should I pack my stuff?
Yes, of course I know.
Who doesn't know Beetlejuice? He's iconic.
This guy?
Which guy? Oh,
Me.
you. Oh, right. Who, me? That actually sounded exactly like it. In any event, everyone buzzing. Everyone loves your drops, Frank. You're really developing into an integral part of the team. You're finally, carrying your weight around these parts. So I like it. It's great. Providing value to the audience. Okay, let's not waste any time. We got a litany of questions. Let's try to get to all of them as quickly as possible. Okay, so this gentleman, Emilio, and you know how I know this, Frank? Because I'm moderating the question, so I know that he's been asking this question a lot. It's just being in touch, keeping an eye on things, trends, etc. Emilio says, Ariel, not sure what else I got to do to ask a question or get it read on air. I ask the same one every week. I will try again. So here you go, Emilio. This is your big chance. Now, I'm sure you're hearing this and you're like, wow, what is this? What is this big question that Emilio wants answered so badly, right? I'm sure you guys are on pins and needles. Here it is. Do you know why the UFC has stayed away from Chicago? This is what Emilio is dying to know. I'm guessing he's a Chicagoan, a native of the Windy City. At this point, every major city has had an event come back to their city. Disagree. Not true. They're even going global again, but for some reason, Chicago is left out of the equation. Bellator had multiple events here before they were bought. Would that be part of the reason? No. Shout out to my guys, Rick, GC, and of course, the sassy, mysterious Frank. I've said it already. They are mainly, especially here in the United States, and even more so overseas, they're going to places that are paying them. There's a reason why they're going to Utah. There's a reason why they're going to Miami. Now, the MSGs of the world are different, but they're in such high demand, and they're such a hot property that they're only going to go to places that are going to pay them to come, site fee. And so I can only hypothesize, because I haven't specifically talked to anyone in the Illinois government, athletic commission, etc., that they're either A, not willing to pay, or not willing to pay enough. And so them's the breaks. Unless you're a Las Vegas, which they have a deal with T-Mobile, or unless you're, the Mecca, New York City, they're not going to go to these random places. And there's a ton of places that haven't had an event in a while. Top of my head, well, they haven't been back to Montreal. They just came back to Toronto. Denver. Where else? There's a whole host of places that haven't hosted a big show in a while. I'm assuming and suspect that they'll come back in the near future. And also, they went to Chicago a lot back in the day, in the early days of the Fox deal, and sometimes they feel like they've kind of ran a market dry, and they just, it took them like 20 years to go back to Miami. Now they love Miami. So keep the faith, but that's basically the breakdown. Matt Moe. What's up, Ariel? I haven't heard you or the crew ever talk about or mention the UFC weigh-in show they've been doing in recent years. I find myself really looking forward to them. It's always hilarious vibes when Sanko, Helly, DC, and Weidman are on. Recently, we got to see DC try Tim Horton's Timbits and good old Canadian poutine for the first time. I'd just like to know your general thoughts on the show and if it's something you and the crew pay attention to. Thanks for all you do. I think that the weigh-in show that they do on YouTube on Friday mornings, usually Friday mornings, I think that's maybe the best thing that the UFC produces outside of the events. Obviously, the events are the events, the fights are the fights, but they've they've developed a great thing, which to me, the gold standard as far as a studio show, and I know this isn't your typical studio show because they're often on the road, is Inside the NBA. Inside the NBA on TNT is the greatest sports studio show of all time. And really, there's nothing close. And they have a similar vibe. And it's only getting better and stronger. The chemistry is great between the four of them. And even when they bring in other people, it's fun gags. It's loose. You hear from the fighters involved. And I know they don't love doing those post-weigh-in interviews, but they love talking to fellow fighters, etc. It's just a great time. I remember the first time that the first ever morning weigh-ins happened at UFC 199, and that was in Inglewood. Those were closed to the public. UFC 200, it was sort of like a well-kept secret that it was open to the media. Even the media couldn't attend at 199. UFC 200, select media went, but no one really did anything with it. I went to UFC 201, and that was Woodley Lawler in late July in Atlanta. Watched it, and I was like, okay, I feel like there's something here with these morning weigh-ins. And the UFC wants you to watch the ceremonial weigh-ins because that's the one with the lights, the glitz, the glamour, the pomp, the circumstance, the buzz. But this is the news right here. This is when we find out, A, who's on weight, who's not on weight, and how they look. And so for 202, what we did was, I remember Casey recorded it, and I just spoke into a lav mic and narrated the whole thing. And then it evolved. And I'm not trying to say that I'm some kind of, trailblazer here, but no one was really streaming these live or making it into a show. Fast forward 8 years, they're the show. Like, it would be stupid to go up against them. It's the best show. They have the access. They have the production. They have the gags. It's fantastic. So kudos to everyone. I think Zach Candido is involved as producer. Michael LaPlante, who I used to work with back in the day as well, and the whole crew over there, they do a great job. So well done. And obviously the talents involved, DC, Sanko, Heli, Weidman, and the others. They all do great. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's Friday mornings on the UFC YouTube channel. I think they do a fantastic job. Cortland, hi, Ariel and crew. I'm curious what you all think about the way the UFC has been announcing fights as of late. I remember some of the amazing video packages they used to put together to announce fights, and they'd be premiered during pay-per-views sometimes, not for all of them, but for the big ones. And it always felt very super exciting and exclusive seeing those cards get announced like that. Now it's just Dana announcing them from his phone on social media. Don't get me wrong. I love watching a middle-aged man scream his lungs out in his office as much as the next guy, but it feels a bit cheap. Am I overanalyzing this, or does it make fight announcements less exciting? I think you're overanalyzing it, to be honest. I think, like I said on Monday, the Dana White announcements are just his way of trying to beat the media to the punch. And I don't think as many media members, I can certainly speak for myself, are even trying to break that news anymore. The juice just isn't worth the squeeze, but I think he just wants to beat everyone to the punch for whatever reason. The main thing is, I don't have a problem with Dana announcing the fights. I think it's actually easier. My two main gripes are, A, I think the fighters should announce their own fights, to be honest. I think it should come from them, and I think that you would get much more, especially these days with everyone doing their own content, I think you'd get much more entertaining and original stuff to announce these fights. The fighters and their teams are very creative. And so that's one. And B, the obvious other thing is, they're not always done, as we outlined on Monday. They're not a done deal. Someone hasn't agreed to it, still in the works, etc. And there was one thing that I failed to mention on Monday when I was talking about this. The biggest thing that I didn't mention when Dana got mad at us for saying that, oh my gosh, the fight isn't done, and you announced the fight and it's been a month and it's still not done, you're selling tickets based on a fight that's not done. This wasn't the media saying, hey, according to sources, according to people we spoke to, anonymous. This was coming from Dustin Poirier himself. Dustin Poirier is the one that broke this news. And his teammates, Johnny Eblin, backed it up in subsequent interviews. So it wasn't like we were doing this anonymously, and I can understand that Dana doesn't want to shit all over Dustin Poirier. That's his guy. That's his fighter. What's the point of that? So it's easier to take shots at us. But this came straight from him. And unless you think he's lying, which he wasn't, I know for a fact, there was really nothing to argue about. He came out, told me, told others, the fight wasn't agreed to. He was done playing the negotiation game and he was going to move on, and then it got rectified. It wasn't like we were saying, Dana could say that my report on the Saudi thing is wrong because it's from sources. There's a reason for that. But this one wasn't from sources. This was straight from Dustin. That's a pretty big detail. In any event, I don't care about the videos. They don't bother me. The main thing that bothers me is if it gets announced and it's not done. That should be the biggest issue. And I think for some of the big ones, they'll put together video packages. They don't do it for every single card. I don't think that should determine how excited. Like, you tell me that Alex is fighting Ilya, I'm excited. I don't need a snazzy video package to let me know. Now, in the past, they did have like the Jones DC one and others. Those are great. Why they're not doing them, I don't know. But it doesn't really impact my level of excitement or anticipation going into the fight. Hi, Ariel and the team. Love the show. This is from G. My question this week is, how long do you think it will be before Turki Al-Sheikh turns his attention to the UFC, trying to create super fights he wants to see? Will they be able to resist the money he can put forward? If they can't, how do you see him getting involved? Thanks, G from Glasgow. My understanding is he's a gigantic boxing fan, and MMA, not as much. So I think you're seeing his passion for boxing come out here. I don't even know, and I think the answer is no, that he's seen an MMA event live. That's going to change on February 24th. It was going to change on March 2nd. His first UFC event, God willing, June. That's the plan. And so I think it's just a matter of him being more interested in boxing. And let's be honest, I saw his interview with Ade Oladipo, fascinating chat over on the DAZN boxing page. And he talked about how, the UFC was the preeminent organization in combat because everything, is very organized and the best fight the best, whatnot. And I think he's trying to kind of turn boxing into that as much as he can. And maybe feels like he doesn't necessarily need to do that when it comes to MMA. This is me just hypothesizing. Obviously, he has a very strong relationship with Francis. The only thing I can see him doing is, hey, I want to see Francis fight this guy. Now, I think the UFC is powerful enough to say, no, thanks, but no thanks. Like, they don't have to do anything. That's the only one I could see him trying to make happen. But boxing is so disjointed, and there's so many people who refuse to play in the same sandbox. It's easier for him if enough, resources and money is involved, say like, hey, you need to come together. And it's so rare for that to ever happen. For example, this Queensberry Matchroom 5-on-5 event, it makes it feel very unique. There isn't a massive demand at the moment for a PFL versus UFC card. There isn't a massive demand for a Bellator versus UFC card or a one championship versus, there isn't. For the most part, UFC fans, if you're strictly a UFC fan, you get the fights that you want to see. For the most part. I know that there are examples, but you want to see this guy fight this guy? You want to see DDP fight Izzy? You're probably going to get that. You want to see, I don't know, Islam fight Charles last year? You got that. You want to see Grasso, Shevchenko 2? You get that. And there's not a lot of roadblocks. There's not a lot of negotiations. There's not a lot of drama. We see in boxing this happens quite often. And so there's a lot more for him to be able to accomplish there as opposed to on this side of the fence. Being Bobby, Ariel, another week, another downed opponent foul. Yes, this was during the Nasruddin Imavov versus Roman Dolidze fight. Last Saturday, we saw Nasruddin Imavov being deducted a point for kicking Roman Dolidze while he was down. But should Imavov have been deducted a point? Yes, because that's the rule. I thought the rule in Nevada was that the hand/fingers needed to be weight-bearing. To me, Dolidze's hand was not weight-bearing, and he was doing exactly what the rule tries to prevent, trying to take advantage of the down opponent rule to prevent being struck. Thankfully, the point being taken away didn't ultimately impact the correct result of Imavov winning, but please help me understand why a point was taken in the first place. The point was taken in the first place because the hand was weight-bearing. That's why it was taken away. I disagree with your assessment that it wasn't weight-bearing. It was weight-bearing, and he was hit. Now, what they are trying to rectify, and on the broadcast they say in California, I think people got confused with Andy Foster. He's bringing this to the ABC, to the larger, I just wrote on my pants. He's bringing this to the Association of Boxing Commissions. So these are the people that oversee everything. These are all the commissions in all the jurisdictions and all the states coming together. And they got by the first hurdle, the vote to modify the rule, which, as he explained, would include other parts of your body, your knee, your elbow, etc. That passed the rules committee, and now it's going to go to the larger group in the summertime at the next ABC meeting. And so if that had been passed, it wouldn't have been illegal. But Nevada, it's weight-bearing, and according to the referee, it was weight-bearing, and that's why the point was deducted. So technically, by the rule today, it's illegal. I noted this on Saturday. Not only is this problematic for the one throwing the knee or the kick, whatever, it's also problematic for the fighter, because if you are playing that game and you think that this is an out, you think that this is a safety net, perhaps like Dolice did in this moment, sometimes you get blasted and you're not defending yourself. So it's like a false sense of security for the fighter. He's down. He's like, oh, I think I'm good, right? Like, it's like if you're doing tag team wrestling and you put your hand on the rope or something, I'm not going to get touched. And then you get blasted and you're like, damn, I wasn't expecting that. So it just creates this illusion that, oh, this could be my out, when in a fight, there shouldn't be outs, especially not in a situation like that. So it's better to just get rid of it, unless you're like actually down and it's very clear. And then if you're blasting someone who's actually down, then you probably, deserve a punishment. Let us move along. Sam, yo, Ariel, quick one from me this week. Wondering if you can put your manager hat on for a second and use the Wizard of Oz managerial technique on Rick, GC, Mysterious Frank, and Andy. Unfortunately, Andy is on maternity leave. We miss her dearly, but she's having a great time, and so she cannot partake. Tell us whom you think is, oh gosh, Dorothy has lost their way and is just missing the guidance. The Scarecrow has everything they need to succeed, but is just missing the knowledge piece. The Tin Man, total rock star, but needs more heart. The Cowardly Lion simply needs to find the courage to showcase their strengths. Best Sam. Now, Matt Moe, for whatever it's worth, said Lion is Frank, but I'm not co-signing that. I wanted to just throw this out. Does anyone have any thoughts on any of this? I mean, it could be a bit problematic.
No, you selected that.
No, you know what?
I encourage you to.
You picked it.
I encourage you to.
You're not a moderator. You're a curator.
No, it's interesting you say that. When I'm getting the coffee, there's a lot going on. So I'm just like screen grabbing from the Substack app,
So
which
you're
is
phoning
great.
it in.
Well, I just thought it was an interesting question,
Can we?
too.
I want to hear what
I'm curious
negativity
to
you
hear
tie
your
to each of
answer.
us.
Well, you see, the interesting thing about the question is you bring up a great point, GC. Why does every single person have some sort of negative slant to it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Wizard of
I'll let you
Oz. I
answer.
mean,
Is
they're lacking.
Is everyone lacking on that film?
I mean,
Yeah.
in the
That's
end,
the journey.
though,
It's been
they
a
all
while.
succeed.
Hmm.
They were
Yes,
following the
well,
wizard
you-
who ended up being a sham.
Dorothy.
Take that for
What
what
are you- what are we eating, Frankie?
Frankie, we're chewing in the middle of the program. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
So we
That
do
was
know.
a perfect who me missed one.
Yeah, you really missed that.
I
Who,
was
me?
too busy chewing. I couldn't hear you.
What are you eating?
Who me?
It's great.
Grapes.
Grapes. In the middle of the segment where you're called upon the most.
Yeah, I was trying to.
It is weird to me. Like, there's like, you try to say, what? You try to say hydrated with grapes?
Yeah.
Grapes don't hydrate you. What are you talking about?
At least I can use a
So what is-
massage gun without getting hurt.
Wow, this is getting contentious. Who knew this question would open?
Yeah, this will
up
bring.
the,
This will bring
floodgates.
Ariel's answers out now.
I'm just curious about the thought process. Like, oh, show starts. This is definitely the hour where I'll get called upon the most. Let me pop grapes in my mouth. You have the questions in front of you. You know I'm gonna stop.
Let's hear the answer.
Why does it work every damn time? Why does it work every damn time?
Because it's your voice, and it was such an honest question.
I got nothing, but I thought it was fun. You guys could ponder. Let us know in the
Yeah,
comments.
seems fun.
Let us know in the YouTube comments or the chat. James, hi, Ariel and team. I have a hypothetical situation and would like to hear your thoughts, especially New York Rick's, since he doesn't think this is a big deal. Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble and deciding to give up his chance to main event the biggest show of the year to The Rock is like Dustin Poirier being next in line for a title shot, but saying, nah, I'd rather see Conor McGregor get the chance because he's more popular to the casual fans. Remember, in this WWE storyline, Cody Rhodes himself decided this, not Triple H or Nick Khan. In the UFC hypothetical, Dustin decided himself and wasn't told by Dana White. Would you be okay with Dustin Poirier's actions in this situation? No, there's some faultiness to all of this. In case you don't know, that was the explanation. Cody says to The Rock, hey, I'm going to step aside. I'll go for Roman's belt, but not now. Here you go, carte blanche. And people are like, what? This is weak. Now, I will say on Monday, they seem to have played this up a lot. Is it The Rock versus Roman? And they're doing this press conference tomorrow in Las Vegas, which is smart. A lot of media there, center of the universe for the sporting world in America this week. So they're doing a press conference at T-Mobile. Rock will be there. Roman will be there. Cody will be there. Kind of brilliant. And let's see where they go. But it feels, as I said on Monday before Raw, let's just wait to see how the story plays out. Because I don't think that Cody is completely out of the picture. And they were playing into it on Monday. They were playing it up. How does it pan out? I think Cody will be fine in the end. This is only making him a bigger deal. This is only making the fans want to back him more and see him get the belt and see him get over. And contrary to what lapsed fan Rick might say, this is all about the belt. I know it's fictitious. I know it's scripted. But the whole point of this is not to see Cody beat Roman. It's to finally get the belt. That's the story. It's not because there's some long-standing feud between Cody and Roman. It's because they want to see the story that started with Dusty Rhodes never winning this belt, or technically winning it for 10 minutes at Madison Square Garden at a house show in the 70s. They want to see his son, who has been through all kinds of trials and tribulations, get it and say, Pops, we did it. That's what they want. And they're invested in this story. This is what it's all about.
That's touching stuff. And all the boo-hoo, whiny crybabies are gonna cry their eyes out when the Rock said, when Rocky, when Dwayne, when DJ comes back and says, "That's mine." I mean, this person laid out this fictitious like kind of comparison with UFC. If Conor McGregor decided that he wanted to come back and fight XYZ, the same as the Rock is deciding, I promise you it would happen. I promise you that's the scenario that they would choose.
But Dustin Poirier would never get on a microphone and say, you know what, Conor, out of the kindness of my heart, I think you should go for the belt. They made him turn. Did they not make him look a little bit weak in that moment?
Okay, but this is fake. Cody's real reaction is probably, I can't believe this is happening again.
You can't pull out the fake card. You're supposed to suspend disbelief. This is a TV show. This is like people debating, should Peter Parker have met the guy, Venom, who no, we're having fun here, okay? When someone's having a wrestling debate, you can't pull out the fake card. No, you can't.
Business.
100% business.
We're comparing UFC to WWE. That's where fake has to be exposed. If we're just saying, what's better for the storyline and all that, sure, like that's okay.
I'm saying is,
unfortunately for all you, The Rock is back.
They're looking at all of this. They're playing into it. You see on Monday they're using specific words. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this plays out. Remember, WrestleMania is 2 nights. Conceivably, you could do, Rock Roman night 1, Cody Roman night 2. You could do that. There's nothing saying you can't.
Or they make them wait another year. I think at this point, I wasn't sure before. Now I'm pretty sure this is intentional. And it's working. They're getting all riled up.
I will also say one thing I don't want, the only thing I don't want, I would actually rather wait a year than a triple threat match. I don't like triple threat.
Yeah, don't do that.
Lazy.
Don't do that. I agree.
Cody has nothing to do with Rock Roman. Don't insert him into that story.
Make him have another roadblock. The Rock became another roadblock for him getting what he wants, and now he conquers that, and then next year he gets it done. And then you get another year of Roman with this streak. I don't know the ins and outs of it, who has the longest streak, but I know he's like approaching some kind of like best streak
top
ever.
3, top 4.
Just keep that going, and then next year you get the payoff from Cody. I think I wasn't sure. Now I'm pretty sure that this is intentional and that they will play this correctly.
Should they turn Rock heel and bring back Hollywood Rock to play into all of this?
That'd be pretty cool.
Imagine
that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, you guys! Oh, you're so sad about Cody.
But isn't Roman a heel?
Doesn't matter what you think. Yeah.
Isn't Roman a heel? Because that might be the problem.
I'm very curious to see what they do tomorrow. You gonna watch?
I mean, hasn't there? No, probably not. But hasn't there been like situations where they switched them both?
Yeah.
Where like Roman could all of a sudden be the guy. Like I wanted to give it to Cody Rhodes, but they wanted The Rock came in here and steamrolled his way. This part timer's coming back.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And then they like flip it. Both of them. That could be fun.
That's not bad.
I'd like a heel Rock, but he's he's campaigning for president in 5 years, in 6 years from now. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably not a world where he wants to be a heel. I wouldn't imagine.
Wholesome Rock is fun, but heel Rock is even more fun.
That's the one that I watched.
Yeah,
I fell in love with heel Rock. That was my guy, but I just can't. He's too manicured now. Everything is too like perfectly placed for him to do it. But I think that'd be the most fun outcome.
Bottom line, like, I don't know if you saw Super Bowl Media Day. You got guys weighing in on this on the podium. Like everyone's talking about this. Everyone wants to talk about this. Is all good. Anyone who thinks that they're fucking up, they're screwing it up. The fact that people are this passionate about the main event of WrestleMania in this scenario is all good. Is good for everyone involved.
It's all part of the plan.
Don't think.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think that if Cody just got it, this would be the same. Unless you disagree.
No,
like
of course.
I feel like the element of this.
Well, the element
is
of him
that.
getting screwed has brought out this passion.
Yeah.
But honestly, when he won the Rumble a couple of weeks ago, people were like, "Oh, nice, he's going to finish the story at WrestleMania 40." People were hyped. But now, I think
it wouldn't have crossed over to this like new level.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, Rock's coming back and he's taking something from a guy who's there week in and week out on the road, face of the company, and like he hasn't been here for years. This is all good.
I don't follow wrestling like very closely, but I've always loved when they do the like this guy's a part-timer coming back. Like when Cena did it to The Rock. I love that.
Punk is the biggest naysayer of all this. Yes.
Also, who else was talking about it other than George Kittle?
Travis.
Oh, all right.
Oh, are you trying to call me a liar or what?
No, I'm not trying to call you a liar. I mean, just, I don't know how many, I heard everyone was talking about.
Yeah, Travis and Kittle. Two big names, would you say? Like
tight ends, though. Tight ends, I mean.
They don't count?
Anyone other
We're
than
discounting
tight ends?
positions.
First of all, you think I'm fucking watching Media Day? I saw Triple H retweet both clips. That's how I saw it. You think I don't know if fucking Eric Bieniemy is talking, if he's still on the team. I don't even know.
No, he's not.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, let me get Andy Reid's fucking thoughts on the curtain jerker at WrestleMania 4. Yeah, two pretty big fucking names. Excuse me.
So, I mean, we're
two pretty big names. Yeah, by the way, are they being asked about the main event of UFC 300? No, they're not. Not even close. Not even close. Oh, hey, who do you think's
what is the
winning
main event of UFC 300,
Yeah,
by the way?
guess what? No one cares anymore. They're all talking about this.
There it is, proving your point.
Yes.
I have to say this. I feel like this Wizard of Oz question has fractured the entire.
I don't know if I could recover from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Well,
Random tidbit. Wizard of Oz, my favorite movie. Love that movie.
Ever. Your favorite movie ever is Wizard of Oz.
Number one.
this is such
Number
cat.
one.
1935. When did that come out?
This is cat. This is cat.
No, not, maybe actually. But
Wizard of Oz.
number
Are
one.
you kidding me? You told. By the way, this is such a lie because that
No.
stupid movie that Devin
1939.
Sawa's in. You always say is your favorite movie. You
Final
said
Destination.
you've
No, that's
said
my
this.
favorite horror.
You said this.
This is
the
Wizard of Oz
greatest
will never
movie
be
of
top.
all time.
Number one.
Stop.
Love it.
This has
get
stood the
enough.
test of time for
The best.
85 years. The greatest movie ever.
Well, I'm not.
Nothing
I'm not
has
gonna
been
make the
better.
argument
Give us
that
one
every,
piece of.
No. You're
Shawshank?
confusing. You're confusing. I'm not making the case that everybody universally will agree that Wizard of Oz is number one. I'm saying my number one, Wizard
Fair
of Oz.
enough.
Love it.
But you
Honestly,
said
I love it.
Titanic was your favorite.
Perfect movie.
Have you showed your
Perfect
kids?
movie.
Have you showed your kids this movie yet?
Not yet, because I'm
What?
afraid when I saw
The
it,
flying
I was
monkeys.
scared of the flying monkeys and the witch, and it kind of was a thing I had to overcome. But
Stop it.
when they're old enough,
What are
I
you
will make
talking
sure.
about?
I mean,
So
dude,
my
it's
parents,
the fakest
when
thing
I
I've ever
was-
seen. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
screenshots right now.
You haven't seen
Like,
Wizard of
they-
Oz?
when
When I
they're
was
walking
like-
into like paper sets.
The-
When
Bro,
I
it
was a
was
kid,
made
they
80
took
years
me-
before I
It's a
was born.
classic.
It is
They
a
took
classic.
me to like they used to have like a Ren fair in upstate New York somewhere that was
They still have
like
it.
Wizard of Oz like themed, and they took me to that when I was a kid. It's my number one. Number one.
I've definitely
for
seen
sure.
it at some point
Wizard
in
of
my
Oz.
life, but it was so.
I feel like you're not gonna
unmemorable.
like it because you're big on the special effects and like it
Yeah,
doesn't.
man,
It
I'm
won't hold
looking at
up.
some of these screenshots.
That feels
Yeah.
like shade right there.
Wasn't it like
I
the
don't-
first?
I don't feel like
colors
you're gonna.
were-
I don't feel like you're gonna enjoy.
Why?
No, it wasn't the first color movie, but they did the thing in it where the black and white turned to color.
You're gonna let him talk about you like that, GC? That you can't appreciate cinema? He says you can't. You need the glitz and glamour.
No, I actually find that as a compliment. I don't enjoy old timey. Just like, I mean, you got to come into the new age here. I'm not trying to my telephone from 1939.
You know what? Connor's a scarecrow.
Trying to do some division.
This is a pre-World War II movie, huh?
It's incredible.
Could we do a watch along? I feel like a watch along of you trying to explain the beauty of this film to Connor would.
It doesn't need to be explained. It's very simple. It's a simple movie. These characters are searching for something. And
what are you going to tell me next? Your favorite actor is Charlie Chaplin?
Who's your favorite actor? He's a great actor.
Why are you coming at me for my favorite movie? What's your favorite movie?
I'm just saying, it's a crazy take to say this is the greatest movie you've ever seen.
It is. You've never seen it.
It is. It's pretty great.
I'm actually concerned about the Burks household not showing baby Connor Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, how have you never seen this?
Yeah, that is weird.
I feel confident that I have seen it. It was just like a fever dream. Like I saw Charlie and the Chocolate Factory like 19 times in school, which you go back and watch that. That was a roller coaster.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or
the original
is great too.
So you
the
saw
original is great. No,
you're the OG,
the
with Grandpa stuck in the bed.
Yeah,
and the blue face.
It's a
great movie.
That's a great movie. That's a great movie.
Man.
I went back and watched it in modern times.
There's actually a new one. Have you seen the new one? There's a Wonka
the
now.
new one's Charlie.
There's two new ones.
Well, there's Johnny Depp, but then there's like a real new one, like out in theaters right now, or it was just out in theaters, right?
Has there ever been a Wizard of Oz remake? Because I could actually appreciate if there hasn't been.
There's one called Oz.
Oz, yeah.
Which
I kind of like that the 39 stood alone.
Wasn't that one based in prison, though?
Was it? No, that was...
no, he's talking about the series Oz on HBO. Well done, Frank. Well played.
That is a good one.
Another one of my favorites for TV. That is definitely one of my favorites.
What was the one? What was the one? Prison Escape? Was that the show that everyone
Prison
loved?
Break.
Prison Break.
That was a good one.
That
was a good one.
See, I like Oz. GC will like Prison Break. That's the generational. That's how it goes. But see The Wizard of Oz. Watch it again. It's great. It's fantastic.
All right. Let's move along. OC. Shout out to moderator OC on the YouTube chat. Howdy, Ariel. Besides the Buffalo Bills, which NFL team do you think deserves/needs a Super Bowl win the most? And why is it the Dallas Cowboys? No way the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, they won freaking 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. Like all this belly aching from Cowboys fans, wait 50 more years before you start belly aching, if you ask me. Bills, Browns, they certainly have been through a lot. Lions have been through a lot. Any other... Vikings have been through a lot. Definitely not the Cowboys. All the best and thanks for the shows. Shout out to the chat. By the way, Frank, in case you were wondering, he writes, I ended up making chicken tacos for the potluck get-together I had last week, and they turned out great. I'm sure Frank has been dying to know.
Yeah, it's a big weight off my mind.
Cross. Hi, Ariel. I know you had a separate basketball podcast from the MMA Hour, but have you thought about having some basketball-oriented interviews on the MMA Hour show, too, since you already do WWE stuff on the show, which is not MMA-related either? Yeah, but closer? Anyway, I was thinking it would be cool if you could get Jalen Brunson on the show to talk about being an all-star for the first time. First of all, I will just say I was watching the Knicks game last night. They're up by 30 against essentially what is a G League team in Memphis. And then all of a sudden Memphis comes back, and then all of a sudden Jalen twists his ankle, and I was so depressed. It ruined my night. And so I just want to say, if he needs a pretty good right ankle, I'm happy to give him mine. I think it was right. Left works too. Actually, left is better than the right because I broke my right ankle 20 years ago. So, I would happily donate mine to him. Hopefully he's okay. I'm very nervous about this. Number 2, congrats to him and Josh Hart. They have a new podcast together. Everyone has a podcast these days, and now they have added their name to the list. Number 3, basketball. I try not to steer too far away from combat. I know we've had the darts, the odd, J.J. Watt soccer, but I try not to steer too far away. All I'll say is watch this space. The times they are changing. That's all I'll say, Cross. Return of the Nose. Hi, Ariel. Last year you mentioned that you were planning to have your uncle Gad Saad as a guest on the MMA Hour. Are there any updates regarding this? Might do it on the YouTube channel. Yes, Gad is my uncle, my mom's brother, quite popular on social media. And I just it didn't feel right for this program, but maybe on the YouTube channel, he has his YouTube show or podcast as well. And so maybe there, no real specific reason, but that felt like a little bit too much of a departure from what this show is. But I do appreciate you asking. Anitsela Perf. Hi, Ariel. Why did Muhammad Mokaev say he will not go on your show anymore? Wow, that's a great question. Well, I appreciate this question for multiple reasons. Number one, today marks 4 months since the brutal attacks in Israel. We found out yesterday that 32 of the hostages that we thought were still alive are no longer alive. Continues to baffle me that the world doesn't care that innocent women, children, elderly are being held hostage just like that. And it's okay to negotiate the release of terrorists and criminals to bring these innocent people home. Blows my mind. No one seems to care. If one person was held hostage here in America, I would think that there would be an uproar. And no one seems to care, which is just insane to me and appalling, and further proof that we just have to play by a different set of rules. Nevertheless, why Muhammad Mokaev? There was a Sunday evening, maybe 2 weeks after the attacks on October 7th, where you may recall there were scenes out of Dagestan where hundreds, if not thousands of people rushed the airport because they thought or heard that a flight had landed from Israel. And the scenes were shocking. They were searching in the plane engine for the people. They were going up to people outside of the airport asking to see their passport. And I think the timing coincided. I reposted this because these are scary scenes. These are 1939 scenes. People are rushing airports to find out if there are Jews on the plane. And dare I even think of what they would do to these Jews? Insane, disgusting stuff. So much so that Habib even commented on this and said, like, we need to chill out based on what I had read from a translated interview. All I did was post this sans commentary of any kind, reposted a video, and then I saw him say that he's not going to talk to me. Great. No problem. No skin off my back. I didn't even respond on Twitter when I saw that. Muhammad and I think he's a tremendous fighter, a young fighter. I know his feelings on Israel, and I have looked past them and have been happy to have him on, and I would still be happy to have him on prior to that comment. He doesn't want to come on the show, no skin off my back, no problem. I'm blown away that me simply reposting actual news footage, sans commentary of any kind, would lead him to say something like that. But, based on things that I've seen in the past from him, I'm not too surprised. And I've looked past those things and have still had him on the show dating back to, I think, 2021. So, yeah, it's all right there. You can see it. Look at anything that I've said on social media since October 7th. Look at anything that I've said regarding Israel, regarding Gaza, regarding Palestine, regarding Muslims. Nothing has been derogatory, defamatory, disrespectful, salacious, nothing of any kind. I'm not reposting 15-second, out of context videos. I'm not posting gruesome stuff. I'm not posting any of that stuff. I've tried to be very careful about all of that, even though I think I'm well within my rights to post whatever I want, as long as it's fair and accurate. He doesn't like the fact that I reposted a video of an actual avalanche of people showing up at the airport looking for Jews. If that offends him, sorry. I'm not too bothered that you don't want to be on this show. You can go talk to someone else. Ace, hola Ariel. I'm sure you'll be getting a lot of questions about this, but I would like to share why I'm upset about The Rock taking Cody's place against Roman Reigns. I like to watch wrestling to escape reality for a bit, but The Rock stepping in made me think of my own life, and I'm sure many others too. Cody is an employee who shows up every day to do his job, and he does it well. He wins the Rumble, and to compare that to events to a regular person's job, that is like having the highest rated guest interactions at your hotel, earning that big contract for your consulting company, or the class you teach having the best, most improved test scores in the district. Even though you're the one to really work hard and make a difference, here comes someone from upper management to take the credit and earn that huge bonus and pay raise, while the regular employee just gets a nice pat on the back and told to keep working hard for a chance at a raise next year. I'm willing to let the story play out, but this just sounds too similar to my own stories. and many other people's stories that I hear about. I don't know what my question is, even to you. Just wanted to share my thoughts on this situation. Also, Cody was already the number one face and over person in the company. If your argument is to make it another Daniel Bryan situation, I'd argue they didn't have to. So fair enough. But all I'm saying is this passion, you relating this to your day-to-day life, this is exactly why it's all working. The biggest angle, arguably, of the last 30 years was Mr. McMahon versus Austin McMahon, right? And why was it so great? It was so great because people said, I wish I could do that to my boss. I wish I could flip off my boss. I wish I could kick him in the nuts and stone cold stun him. People related to it, being held down, and they're relating to this. So just enjoy the ride. Let it feel the way you want it to feel. Get mad, get upset, but just remember, it's entertainment, it's fun, and I think Cody will have his moment. I, too, want to see him win. I wanted to see him win last year, but I'm choosing to sit back and letting this story play out. I want to see where they go with it. And then when it's done, we can assess how it went. Taco, rapid fire question, one for Ariel, GC, and New York Rick. Okay, you ready for this? GC, should the Hawks trade DeJounte Murray?
Yes.
Now, what happened? I thought you had more to say.
No, it's rapid fire. I just want to.
Okay.
Yes.
By the way, I just want to tell you, Murray is a player on the Hawks. I know you don't really watch the Hawks, but he's high in demand. Okay.
Almost went to a Knicks game last night.
Against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, almost went.
What happened?
Got offered free tickets.
Life.
Life. Things had to be done.
Good game. Breen and
I heard
Clyde,
it was a great game. My roommate went. My roommate went. Free ticket, yeah. Came back. Souvenir cup.
Damn.
Knicks banner. Foam finger.
Courtside?
No. Not quite.
Have you ever been to a Knicks game?
Yeah, several Knicks Hawks games.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a Hawks fan.
Did you go to the playoff?
Yes, when we eliminated y'all. Yeah.
F. Trae Young.
Yep. Yeah, I was at the final one wearing a Trae Young jersey.
Wow. You're that guy, huh? All right.
Yeah. The Hawks fan.
New York Rick. Shout
out to Clyde and
the best.
The legends.
Best. That was really nice. It was really nice what they did for them.
Yeah.
As I think I've said on this show, I don't know if anyone was nicer to me at ESPN who didn't need to be nice to me, more so than Mike Breen. Like, went out of his way to be nice to me, take me for lunch before working a game together, texting me, just like
he seems like a nice guy from the outside, and then you find out he actually is a nice guy. It's even better.
It's just
incredible.
I was blown away, honestly. Like, it wasn't just fake nice. It was like, go out of your way to make the guy who's completely irrelevant to this whole equation feel a part of the team. Shout out to his son Matt as well, big MMA fan. Obviously, I think he's in his early 20s, but very nice kid as well. New York Rick, in the social media world, there's been a lot of talk about hyper specialization in one platform versus spending time developing presence on multiple platforms. Do you agree with this strategy from a business perspective?
Yeah, I would say match the platform to what your goals you're trying to accomplish are, and don't spend time trying to have presence on every platform if they're not going to achieve your goals. So yes, I agree with not necessarily hyper specialization, but match the needs to the platform. If it's a few, then do a few. If it's one, do one. If it's all of them and you can sustain that, do all of them, but make sure you're matching the needs. So yes.
Okay. Ariel, I'll be in London the first weekend in March and want to go to a football match. Can't go too far out of London as I fly in Saturday morning, March 2nd. So within reach of me, which would you choose of the following? I've only been to one match at Old Trafford. Fulham, Brighton, Craven's Cottage. Tottenham, Crystal Palace at Tottenham, high up on the list. Obviously, shout out to Brennan. And I've heard Hotspur Stadium, tremendous. Brentford, Chelsea at Brentford. Chelsea, bit of a mess at the moment. Luton Town, Aston Villa. Luton's on fire. Golly. And big Forest FA Cup match coming up at 2:45 against Bristol City. We'll be keeping an eye on that. To me, it's down to Luton Town, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Crystal. Crystal's not great. Tottenham's amazing, especially if Son is playing. They're doing well. Shout out to Big Ange. I like them both. Aston Villa's been great too, but ultimately I'll go with Tottenham for the stadium experience. Luton Town Stadium is great as well. That's like the old school one in the middle of the neighborhood. But ultimately, I say you can't go wrong with any four of these, any one of the four. But I'll go with Tottenham. Enjoy. I'm jealous. Hello, Ariel. In the new video by Bellator's X page, just from Ken O. Their events will now have at least one title fight when Don Davis mentioned 2 title fights on your show. Thoughts? Also, what is the point of the champ versus champ fights if the loser is still able to keep their belts? Wouldn't it be better if the winner has both belts and have just one champion under one banner? Well, yes, I did hear about that. I think they wanted to do Cyborg versus Liam McCourt, which should have been the main event. But I think it's a budget thing. It is a little weird off the bat that it's not 2 championship fights on the bill. I think probably the fact that there's a February 24th card that ties up a lot of those champions, I think 3 or 4 of them, is part of the issue. I do believe going forward, of the 8 events, they're going to try to have 2 championship fights on the card, so let's see. But yeah, it is a little weird that the first one off the bat doesn't have that. And I haven't gotten a straight answer as to why that was, other than budget and close to the February 24th one. I don't mind that the, champ versus champ fights isn't for one particular belt, because you want them to go their separate ways, especially the Bellator guys, and defend those titles. If they're tied up, you can't do that anymore. And now you've got belts that have been unified when you don't really want them to be unified. Hello, Ariel and crew. Jimmy here. You guys rock. Just curious if you heard anything about the nature of Dana White's recent meeting with David Feldman. Yeah, that was cool. David Feldman of BKFC met with Dana White recently. Thanks a ton for all the amazing entertainment. I haven't, but I think it's great for BKFC. And I also saw Dana White meet with Saki Kabara of Ryzen. So this is great. Who knows? Who knows what this all leads to? Dana met with Eddie Hearn. All these guys look up to Dana White. He is the creme de la creme. He is the best in the business, and obviously has this long track record at this point, 20 years plus doing this. And I think it's pretty darn cool that, hey, maybe it's not, Bellator or PFL, who cares? He's willing to meet with these other promoters to share insight, to show them the PI, to show them the offices. Doesn't have to do it. And I'm not even sure if the Dana White of 10 years ago would do this, but he seems to be in a place where he's comfortable enough doing it. And I think that's commendable. Gabriel. Hello, Ariel. Who, me? Helwani. You and the gang recently hosted a live show in New York City, which I would have loved to attend. Unfortunately, being on the West Coast, it was tough to. Any chance you and the boys will be heading to Vegas for International Fight Week? Or is there anything else in the works regarding another live show? With much love and appreciation, Gabriel. We've talked about 300. We've talked about IFW. Would like to do one in Las Vegas in the next few months. Let's see if it works out. But yes, this is something we'd like to do more of. I enjoy doing them. I think the crew like doing them as well. I think that was the 4th one that I've done, dating back to the ESPN days. So yes, something I'd really like to do, and especially would love to do it consistently, right? Like 1 a quarter or something like that, I think would be amazing. So yes, hopefully either 300, IFW, or hell, why not both? P the G. Bonjour, Helwani. I finished last week's show at 17:45, which is 5:45 UK time, 15 minutes before you guys go live. That's 12:45 our time. And I was wondering, I wonder what they're all doing right now before the show. So my question is, what does the 10 to 15 minutes before the show goes live look like? I imagine Frank is at his angriest at this time. Why do you think P the G thinks that, Frank?
I'm not sure. Maybe he's reading too deep into things. Yeah, maybe you should stop.
We're all getting ready. There's usually a trip to the bathroom. There's last minute testing, looking over things. Anything? Yes?
My favorite line of the day gets spoken.
What's that?
Somebody says, "Hey, do you guys want to do anything?"
Yeah.
That's my favorite line.
Why is that such a big
Because we
deal?
always want to do something, Ariel. We're here to test and make sure the show is great. It's it's so funny when you do, because it basically is you saying, "Hey, I'm ready to do stuff." If you guys are.
Wow.
No, this is a compliment.
Wow. I don't want to intrude. Everyone's very particular about their time, their space, their lunch break. I just would say, you guys, do you want, there's things we could do. We could go over lower thirds. We could go over the B-roll. We could go over the videos, the photos. We could do a test intro. I mean, we're doing the show almost 3 years. We still have to do the test intro. It's all, you press
that
a button.
Is sacrament.
You literally press a button. I don't know what we're doing when we do it, but we still do it every time.
Me?
I feel like we've tried to explain this several times.
To me?
Yeah, the test intro.
Tell me.
We're just making sure everything's good. Everything.
Like the technology is working.
Oh, I have no problem with it.
Sometimes there's technological issues. It sounds like you have a problem with
No, I have no problem. It's
just
Frank.
like you don't understand it.
I'm glad they were
Frank is
modeling what it looks like 10 to 15 minutes before the show
Frank
now.
saying like,
I was
oh.
at a doctor's appointment today, you know?
No, you came in.
You can do anything 15 minutes before the show.
Hell yeah. Oh, Frank's getting all testy on me. I don't know what's going on.
Nobody's getting
Everyone's getting testy. Is everyone okay back there? Is everyone, like, do we need to have a post-show meeting? Why is everyone upset?
What would Frank like to call it? A huddle?
The huddle.
Come on, everybody, huddle up. Huddle up.
We used to do the huddle, and then now I walk in there, and Frank's the first one to leave, like the second I walk in. So
Oh, my God. You should see him on the watch parties. I mean, I can't even get out of my chair, and there's just a cloud of dust where Frank was. He's already halfway home by the time we get off the air.
Why are you in such a rush, Frank?
It's quite the hustle.
Oh, I got to upload the video.
I mean, we just sat
audio.
and watched the entire UFC card together. You know, we're kind of digesting, reacting, and then I'm like, "Where's Frank?" They're like, "Oh, he's gone." I'm like,
You want to download.
See you Monday,
You want to
Frank.
recap.
I mean, especially when it's a crazy card. It's like, all right, man, I'll see you Monday. Alex has a great one-liner after every single watch party because it's like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
He always hits me with the, all right, man, see you tomorrow.
Ah, that's a
That's a
classic.
good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a
Every
good one.
time.
This one's for you, GC. Nate fought a bear. Hello, Ariel and crew. Today I have 2 questions pointed at GC. Please make sure he's available. I wasn't going to read them but now you're back. GC, are there plans for a fight feast in regards to UFC Apex 100? I think this monumental moment in UFC history has to be celebrated and recognized in a way that only your fight feast content can truly do. Can I also just say, big props to you here. You've only done one fight feast, and this guy's talking about it like it's been a staple for 10 years. So, I mean, I think that really shows how much it resonated. Please give us what we want, more GC content. Okay, so that's the first one.
Well, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, me and Frankie, we're doing number 2 this weekend. Very much looking forward to doing that one. So I appreciate all the love. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I was just talking with our very own Jed Meshew last night about the plans that need to be made around UFC Apex 100. Obviously, we're going to have to find out when it is, who's going to be on the card. I'm sure they're going to stack it top to bottom in honor of the occasion. But yeah, plans will be made. Watch party, UFC Apex 100. Sounds like it's gonna have to be a have to. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I know Dana and crew have big plans surrounding that. Anything we don't see on 300, I'm sure we'll get on UFC Apex 100.
Okay. The other question is, additionally, I haven't been able to watch the pay-per-view watch parties in a while since starting a watch party group of my own. I'm curious, are you still ripping open packs of UFC trading cards? If so, anything good recently? And are you excited for the new Topps cards coming at the end of the month?
Great question. Still ripping every single time. Just ripped a Alexa Grasso like Constellation Auto. That was great. I mean, one of the best we've gotten in a while. Had a little heart on the auto. Felt real personal. The Topps. Yeah, I can't wait. Grew up on Topps, baseball and football cards. So, yeah. And I think it's an exclusivity deal, so no more Panini.
Topps is the one owned by Fanatics, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
They got an office right over here. Maybe I'm gonna have to go knock on their door, see if we can get some sort of sponsorship deal set up.
Has the card thing gone down a little bit?
My excitement for it?
No, not you. Like just in general. Like I feel like 2021 NFT cards, all that, it had this big comeback during the pandemic. Is it as big of a thing now?
I feel like people are still big on it, but I follow like card accounts since I started opening them. My personal excitement has gone down a touch because you realize once you open a lot of these, it's tough to get good cards.
Right.
It's huge in Brazil.
Brazilian hiking trails, especially.
Like the kids in Brazil.
Yeah, they love them. My kids like to open the packs, but I noticed that 10 seconds after opening it, like they like the rush of the unknown, but then they're just kind of done with it. You know what I mean?
That's me. That's me because most of the time
it's just
come up
womp
there.
womp.
Yeah. Like the womp womp sound effect is perfect for 98% of the packs you open. Like I've probably opened 200, 250 packs on these live streams now, and like the memorable cards are, I got a Volk auto, I got an Alexa Grasso auto,
That's pretty sick. Volk auto?
Oh, the Volk was sick. It was like tie-dye too, 1 of 25. Yeah, I mean, see, like I can name 2 cards and I've opened thousands of them.
Yeah. Especially, when you open the soccer cards as well, you get a lot of lower level guys. You're like, what is going on here?
It feels like they make like 1 million of the lower level ones, or just like the super common of the really good people.
Cole, good day, Ariel and crew. Do you think the UFC will ever bring back the media day one-on-one interviews? There seems to be less passion when it comes to the media day. And as a fan that started watching in 2014, it really is a downgrade watching them in the present. Do you miss attending these at all? Would you consider attending them again if there was no pushback from the UFC, aka white wall put in your way? Thanks for your time and love the show. The media days back in the day, I was talking about this with the guys after the show on Monday. Even like pre-media day, where it was just Wednesday open workout, Thursday presser, and then after the open workout for each guy, I was at one point we were the only video team there, and so we would just get these one-on-ones, and then they would leave. There'd be like one scrum, one one-on-one, and then that was it. And then presser on Thursday. Those were great. I mean, those were huge for my career. Getting that the moments with Rampage, with Machida, with some of the guys in the early days, whether it's Chuck Liddell or Tito or Khabib, all those guys, like those were huge. Alistair Overeem, et cetera, et cetera. So Nate, Nick, you can't get that one-on-one time unless you go out of your way to their hotel, and that's harder to book and track down. And I think it's, as a result, harder for people to break through. So yeah, I would love for the younger journalists to have that opportunity. I sort of feel like I did it, and we do more of this now, and I do other stuff, so I don't feel like I need to do it or miss out on it. But yeah, I agree. The scrums, it's just not the same. You can't get that. And I'm sure, by the way, that the fighters prefer it, because as opposed to doing one long media day where you're sitting there doing multiple one-on-ones, answering the same questions over and over again, sitting up there for 15 minutes and answering questions is a lot easier on them, especially as they're cutting weight. But in terms of creating content and sticking out and differentiating yourself from others, those were huge, and they are missed, in my opinion. So I agree with you. Joe Daddy, hey AH. I listened to a few podcasts that you were on recently. I try to catch them all. Thank you. Thankful there's no beef with Post Wrestling. Love those guys. Love Pollock. No beef. Love those guys too, as do I. Is there a show that you would want to appear on that hasn't asked you yet? Also, is there an update to your YouTube channel? Second question, soon. First question, not really. Howard Stern show. That would be the one. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's other shows that would be great to be on, but that's probably the biggest ever, in my opinion. Blaine, Ariel and crew, are we running out of time for McGregor to headline 300? It seems the UFC would want to announce the return of McGregor sooner rather than later to get the most hype and fans interested. Is it too late for McGregor to headline 300? No, it is not too late, but I checked in as of today and still no plans of that happening. It's still moving towards the 26th, so they're telling everyone, like, sit tight, but still no plans. No plans at all. For McGregor, that is. And still no real clarity as to where they're going to go. And we're approaching 2 months. 2 months. Oh, my gosh. What is Chael going to be able to put out on his YouTube channel once they announce this main event? Every third video is what's going on with 300. Once they announce it, what is he going to talk about? Wait and see. This is from No. Greetings, MMA Hour. Questions for the whole crew. Ariel, do you think your relationship with Turki will make the boxing pundits put respect in your name in the long run? And Dana White? No. I love to see who doesn't and who does credit us in the MMA and boxing world, and that's fine. That's totally okay. We're fine with it. We don't need that validation. We don't need the pat on the back, but it's interesting to see.
I just love pulling out the microscope just to see how small the font can get on some of the graphics.
If they do it. Yeah.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
Via the MMA Hour.
If they do that. And then there's some people who just completely ignore it. Or they just like to say, like, the person said it, but not where he said it. Anyway, New York Rick, ranked fights.
Before you jump to that, can I just jump in to say Dana White was on Pat McAfee just a few moments ago said, hopefully this year, I'm hoping for the fall in regard to a Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler bout.
We don't see it in 2024.
From one question ago.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Last I heard,
hopefully in the fall.
Last I heard, the plan was still June 26th, but that was before all of this. So maybe I need to check back in. But this is all very freaking weird, man. Again, I told
Michael Chandler
26th
is
to 29th.
38, 39 years old, something like that. I think we just looked it up and I forgot already. Like, this is kind of wasting some valuable years on the end of
If
the
it
career.
happens in the fall, that's 2 years without him fighting. His last fight will have been
right.
281.
Forget the fact that the Conor part of it, but like Michael Chandler is really eating doo-doo on this. Like,
he
this is
hasn't
not
fought
good.
since 281, right?
How old is
Poirier?
he?
Yes, he has not fought since that MSG show.
37
And
years
you're
old.
right.
Turns
Did I say
38 in April?
Did I say June 26th? I'm sorry. No, wait. What did I say?
Twice.
You said
so I got
26,
concerned.
29.
29. Yeah, I'm thinking of 629.
Yeah.
Yes,
37.
29.
So we're wasting like the end of this dude's longevity here. This is pretty rough.
100%. But you're also wasting prime years at the biggest draw in the history of the game.
Of course.
And trust me when I tell you, he has 2 fights left. That's not a coincidence. It's good to have him around as you're negotiating new TV deals and pay-per-view deals, etc. They are going to drag. This is going to turn into the Nate Diaz thing all over again. There's no reason why this guy shouldn't be at 300. There's no reason why he shouldn't be in June. Let's see if he ends up being in June. But what are we doing here? He's ready to go. He has told us this. He is ready to go. Why are you icing him? It's crazy. It's a travesty. Really. Anyway, Rick, ranked fights in order of must watch. Haney versus Tank. Teo versus Crawford. Yep. Crawford versus Canelo. Ben versus Eubank.
Now, personal preference. I'm not ranking these by like wider appeal. It's still Ben versus Eubank for me. But it is. I admitted this on
Ben
Monday.
versus Eubank is
losing.
Dead. It's dead.
It's losing. It's losing. It's losing steam for me.
Did you see that they made an offer to Tank? Ben Tank.
Tank versus Ben is a good one. That was one of the ones, right? That was one of the ones to rank in there, right? Unless I made that up.
Haney.
Haney Tank, which is tremendous.
Okay. Tremendous.
Lopez Crawford.
Still Ben and
Pretty
Eubank, but it's dropping, and they need to make it ASAP.
I think it's dead.
Terrence versus Canelo is my second, because I just feel like those two are greats. Like, and I know Canelo is kind of more close to the back nine, but greats that are just still great, in my opinion. So I'll take that. And then give me Tank and Haney. And then what was the last option?
The last option was
Teofimo Canelo.
Yeah.
And then Teofimo Crawford, right? Then I'll take Teofimo Crawford underneath that. Although Teofimo Crawford is like a sneaky, like low key kind of banger one. Like, I think that would be more competitive potentially than Canelo versus Crawford would. But I don't hate any of those. I love all those. I think objectively, everybody else in the world would have Ben and Eubank at the very bottom, and I'd completely understand that. And then those other three in some order.
Crawford and Canelo is also like potentially 2 weight classes difference. It's interesting that
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, look, Crawford. Yeah, it's how much I respect Bud Crawford. Like,
no, I know, but like
that dude is. He's one of my favorites to watch. Period. But I just like he's different. I know it's very like cliche and trite and common and annoying for somebody to say somebody's different. Terrence Crawford is different. He is not like other boxers. He is extremely different. That the viciousness that he has, combined with the technical ability, he's unlike anybody else. And I'd be willing to see him chase greatness against Canelo, even though I do think that's not really a great matchup. But it's because of how much respect I have and love I have for Bud Crawford. Like, that dude is different, for lack of I can't describe how. But yeah, I would really like to see him potentially chase greatness there. I think Teofimo and Crawford would be a better fight.
GC, this one's for you. Pick a dream fight feast and pick a main event to support your fight feast. Also, when is your next race? The crew shamed your New York City half medal. I'm not familiar. I don't remember us doing that, but they don't have the guts to run one with you. Who, me? Yeah, that's accurate.
I actually don't remember the shaming either.
No shaming.
What the hell?
Did y'all do that?
No.
I think it was probably the YouTube community.
I don't know. He said that. I feel like y'all might have. I'm gonna need to go back and look on that. Not running a half marathon. I'm running a 5K actually in 2 weeks in Central Park.
Serious?
Oh yeah.
I love a good 5K.
Oh, love a good 5K. That's what got me into running in the first place. Nice and easy. You can get your friends to do it with you, make a whole day of it. Then I'm doing a 10K on Governor's Island in May. Yeah, so got some plans for running. Already signed up, got the bibs in the mail, so looking forward to those. Dream fight feast? Man, I don't know. I just love trying new foods that I've never experienced before at all. So it would have to be something like that. Say like maybe the next time Izzy main events, like trying like Nigerian food or something. Yeah, I'd have to think more on that. But something that I've never experienced before.
So it doesn't have to necessarily be tied to the location, right? It could be tied to a fighter.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to talk tied to location, they were supposed to go to Shanghai, and like I talked to Rick, who is very well versed in Asian cuisine, and learned about Shanghainese food that they have a lot of restaurants for here, and we were making plans, but obviously they moved it to the Apex.
Could have done it for Road FC, Road to the UFC, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Not the same.
I think they'll go back to
yeah, no, of course.
And then we can do it then.
Also, you're in the best city to do something like this. Like, imagine you lived in
That's why it's so perfect.
Cincinnati or something.
I mean, shit, even if I lived in like Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like,
no, this is
they literally have everything here. Like we were talking about, like what if DDP does another main event and we want to do like South African food? And Frank was like, "Is there even really South African food?" Sure enough, South African restaurant in Manhattan.
Confidence.
Comes up with one.
That is amazing.
Frank's actually upset about this, man.
Oh, stop it.
Sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned that, man.
Frank, this one's for you. Are you more interested in a Serrano title fight in PFL or a Serrano versus Katie Taylor rematch?
I want the Taylor rematch.
Yeah.
I feel like the last one was a draw.
Okay, let's not get crazy.
I mean,
I thought it was a Serrano win in real time. In real time, I thought that was a Serrano win.
Do you think she ever fights in PFL?
No. Probably not.
I don't know why she would, to be honest. She's about to sell out a huge stadium or a huge arena in Puerto Rico of boxing. I don't know. Maybe down the line. Ariel, we all love the behind-the-scenes stories with your former agent Nick Khan now being the president of the WWE. Please share some of the involvement he had in the infamous moments of your career. How did he handle the UFC 199 banning, UFC Fox Sports debacle, and so on? I'll say this much. I was very anti-agent early in my career and probably didn't need it, but I think the first time I ever met with an agent was 2011, and I met with others, which is always very nice. I ended up meeting with Nick for the first time in 2015. Actually, I was in LA for UFC 184, headlined by Ronda Rousey versus Kat Zingano and Kel Pennington, Holly Holm. First time two women's fights at the top of the bill. And part of the reason why I was interested in talking to him was because I knew that he was supremely connected in the sports media world. And, sometimes you need someone to help open those doors for you. And I don't believe that I honestly get to ESPN, which was a huge moment in my career. I don't believe that I get there if not for him and his relationships and his guidance, so to speak. And so I remember going for lunch with him maybe a few months before that, and he kind of like laid things out. And like I always say, he's usually 4 or 5 steps ahead. It's remarkable. Like he would tell me things that are about to happen that were not even on anyone's radar, and they would happen. And so that to me is the biggest sort of takeaway that I have from my time working with him. And when he left in 2020, in August of 2020, it was shocking because he was just so powerful in the world of sports media. But I understood the position, and it's obviously been an incredible move for him. And I do feel like there's more to come. I don't think, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, I don't know and I don't think that WWE is his final destination. I think he's just incredibly smart, talented, ambitious, that I could foresee him being, honestly, president of Marvel or DC or Disney, something like that. ESPN, I'm not kidding. And he doesn't necessarily need that because I know he has a tremendous position in WWE and everyone seems to really like working for him and with him. But I have talked about in the past when the 199 thing happened, I've talked about when I wanted to come on the show on the Monday after and tell everything that happened. And I remember I've said this like, oh, you know, I was approached by a lot of different shows, Le Batard, Icing, Dan Patrick, to talk about it beforehand. And all those shows would have aired before our show. And then I thought, well, this is our story, my story. I might as well just reveal all on the show. And it was Nick and my other agent at the time, a guy named Matt Olson, who told me, no, you have to get the story out there. You have to talk to as many people as possible. You really have to, you know, break through the MMA bubble. And so I think that advice actually saved me in a big way, as opposed to just coming on the show, doing it here, contained MMA. I think it was tremendous advice to tell me to get out there and not turn down those opportunities. And I do really think it worked out. So obviously now the relationship is totally different. And, you know, he's killing it over there. And so I think he's been gigantic for WWE. And not just from a media rights perspective, but obviously that's been a big one, but just all the other moves and the signings that they've had over the last couple of years. Ken O, if more and more media members ask fighters, do you like fighting in the Apex, and the responses are negative, will it finally come to an end? No, they don't care. It's about business, and it just makes a lot of sense business-wise. So I don't think it's going to impact. And you can see everyone kind of says it, but they bite their tongue. It's not a thing. Aaron, hello, Helwani. Quick one for you. Were you much of a WCW fan back in the day? Do you ever attend any shows, and do you have any fun or fond or wacky memories of watching? I was a WWE guy until the late 90s. Believe it or not, during WCW's old, like during the peak in 96 and 97, I actually stopped watching wrestling in around 94 when I got to high school, 7th grade. That's high school in Quebec. I stopped and I really got into basketball. And then I only really got back into it in 97 when I went to the Survivor Series in Montreal. And I learned all about the internet and the screw job and what it was all really, you know, meaning. And then I only really got it, like, WCW, I only started watching them when they started to actually go down because the booking was so wacky. So New Blood Rising and Lance Storm going over and Mike Awesome and all that stuff. You know, David Arquette winning and Jeff Jarrett and Booker T and Hogan getting out and Vince Russo coming in when it was a total mess. That's really when I started to get more into WCW, believe it or not. And then, of course, 2000 was a mess. And then 2001, they were sold to WWE. So I never got to go to an event because they didn't come to Canada, or at least not Montreal. I don't know if they ever even had. Maybe they had one house show. I don't even know if they ever had one house show in Montreal. To be honest, Montreal was much more of a WWF/E territory. But I did enjoy them in their later years, and obviously have read and watched everything and the documentaries. And I'm excited about our friend Mark Ramundi's book on the NWO, which is coming out, I think, in 2025. I believe so. What a time. Muhammad, off topic, but what about the fast car performance by Tracy Chapman and Luke Combs at the Grammys? Incredible. I watched that 10 times. It was amazing. Showed it to my wife. She loved that song back in the day as well. I don't know much about Luke Combs, but he was amazing too. And just the reaction to Tracy and the nostalgia and the good vibes. I mean, it was just amazing. Until that very performance, I only knew the 2015 house version. Ever since listening to the Grammy performance, the song has been stuck in my head. Me too. It's even the title of this week's Substack. I must have listened to it, no joke, over 100 times in the last 2 days. What are your thoughts on the performance? I thought it was incredible. It was just amazing. It was beautiful. The words hit differently than when, you know, I first heard it. I think it came out in 88 or 89, or maybe it was a little bit later than that. I read this great story about how she went very early on in her career. She was scheduled to perform at Nelson Mandela's 75th birthday, which I think was at Wembley. And also on the bill was Stevie Wonder, and something happened to the floppy disk that they were using for Stevie's performance, and it didn't work, or they lost it. And he got very emotional and refused to go on stage. And so they told Tracy to go on stage, and she sang that song, and it was a breakout moment for her. And that clip is online. It's pretty amazing stuff. And I understand that she hasn't been in the public eye, hasn't put on a lot of shows, hasn't performed in public. So it's amazing. It's remarkable that she comes back like this. And I understand also that Luke Combs is giving her a lot of the royalties, a large percentage of it. So that's a mensch-like move. So yeah, all that is incredible, and the performance was amazing. It was touching. It was emotional. Grant, hey Ariel, how does Mrs. Helwani deal with events like Saturday just gone, where the day's schedules change quickly due to your work? Are you an ask for forgiveness, not permission kind of person? Does she just go with the flow? And if so, do you think you would have had the success you have had without her by your side? Yeah, that one, I was supposed to go to my son's game. She then had to go. She has never given me stick or any sort of guilt or anything like that. She knows Saturdays, which are typically a date night, are problematic and doesn't really seem to mind. And I've said, without her by my side from the early days and, never giving me any type of issues or guilt or jealousy or anything like that, I don't think I would have been this successful, whatever you want to say the success is. So I actually sent her this question, and her response was, haha, ask for forgiveness, I will make you humble. Tell him I appreciate him. So there you go. The I will make you humble is a Iron Sheik line. But no problems. And obviously I appreciate that very much. I screen grabbed a lot of questions. Man, there were so many. And now I've realized that I've gone 30 deep. So, man, there's so many good ones here. Can you guys all put them back for next week? Because I don't think we can do many more. GC, what's your dream main card for Apex 100? This is from Kai.
Yeah, I feel like it's...
Why do they keep asking you about Apex 100?
I know, especially because, we're only going to be at 90 entering 300. Yeah, you're going to have an unranked heavyweight fight on that main card for sure. You got to have a flyweight fight that has good potential of a flyweight under. Yeah, I got to build that out. I got to think more on that. And when everyone's commenting on Dana White's stuff about what they want for the UFC 300 main event, I'll start laying the groundwork for Apex 100 main card, which is great because we're likely going to get the 6-fight main card as that's what happens on the Apex card. As is tradition, feel like Apex 100 has to kick off at 4 p.m. Eastern.
No. It has to be a 10 p.m. main card. It has to really be for the hardcores. Oh yeah.
I kind of feel like in Apex fashion, you kick that bad boy off at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Fair enough.
Which gives us the 7 p.m. main card start. Everything's wrapped up by about 9:45. I feel like I have to watch Apex 100 on a side TV too, just to really pay tribute to the warehouse in the desert.
Here's another one for you. G.
Wow.
One for Connor, but everyone's opinion welcome. I know you've been selective with your futures, but what are your thoughts on these prices as of a few weeks ago? Heavyweight Jalton Almeida plus 300.
Just plus 300. How does he get the shot? You gotta think Aspinall is next in line. Feels like the division's kind of moving slow.
Middleweight Strickland to retain all year plus 350. Obviously didn't come to fruition. Yeah. Welterweight Conor McGregor plus 2,000.
Oh man, I just want to see Conor McGregor fight, and I doubt it's going to be for a title.
Featherweight Evloev plus 800.
I don't hate that, especially if Topuria wins. No, especially if Volk wins. Then who else is there for him to fight? Topuria opens up a whole chest of new matchups that can happen.
Bantamweight Cejudo plus 1,600.
I'm backing Marab, so I don't really like that one. But obviously, everything I'm saying here, I'm so wrong on these futures. It really doesn't even matter.
Flyweight, last one, Macy Barber plus 1,000.
Macy Barber. I don't know about that one. You got to think it's going to be winner of Blanchfield Figueroa after they do Shevchenko Grasso 3. And then maybe Macy Barber after that, if she continues to win.
Mm.
Then there's a world where you get Zhang moving up if she continues to win his strawweight. Macy Barber 2025.
Okay. All right. Thomas, Ariel, this year I set out to read 12 books. I've been on a roll. So far, I've finished 3. I was wondering if you and the crew could help me out and give me a recommendation. I'm good with fiction and nonfiction. Thanks again for the hours of content you provide to get me through the week. I'm currently reading a really fun book, but I presume it's actually a fascinating book, and I presume most people who are listening don't care, but it's called Prehistoric, and it's on how the raptors were born. And like everything, like from the embryonic stages and how they chose the name and the jersey and the ticket sales, like nothing about them actually playing games, all from like how basketball came to Toronto. It's great. The reporting is great. It's actually kind of fascinating to see how all these things came together. So that would be one from me. Any of you guys want to jump in with one?
If we're doing fantasy, I read the whole Harry Potter series last year. That was tremendous. I mean, just such a journey. Right now I'm reading this book, Fourth Wing. It's about dragons, and it's a big fantasy, but it's don't really know how to describe it. It is written by a woman for women. There's some scenes, 50 Shades of Grayish in there. It's definitely not appropriate for kids. They just came out with the second one, and she's supposed to make 5 of them. I'm probably going to read the second. I don't know if you're going to get me too much more after that.
That's how many pages is that book?
This is a big boy. It's about 600.
Sheesh.
I'm working through it. We're about 350 deep, 300 deep. Yeah, I heard really good things. But yeah, then I started reading it. It's not necessarily
slow?
Up my alley. No, it's not slow. It's super exciting, but it's very it's like a borderline romance novel.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know. Not the best book I've ever read, but you know.
Frank, what are you reading?
Oh man. I'm reading some fantasy books right now.
That means you're reading nothing.
Yeah.
No, I'm reading
some fantasy.
Some R.A. Salvatore. He's
how are you reading more than one book?
Yeah, it was
because I jump around a lot, but I'm reading the Cleric Quintet by R.A. Salvatore. It's like a Forgotten Realms book. I read 20 books last year.
Let's go.
I have been
20
slow to start this year. I'm going to tackle Dune again once I'm done with this.
Before the second movie.
To the guy's question, Ishmael is a book you should read by Daniel Quinn. And then I'm going to tackle Gödel Escherbach sometime this year.
You know what I'm reading after this book is Be Here Now, a Corey Sandhagen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I love
it on
that.
the bookshelf.
Okay, last one. And again, I'm sorry, but 33 is a good number. Or maybe this is 34. I wish I could get to more. Yeah. Could do a whole show just answering these. They're really great ones, but let's end on this one. Ryan, Ariel, please answer this. I've been commenting for weeks, and this is my last chance. I'll be fighting tomorrow. Hey, my dear pal Ariel, I'm fighting in Vancouver, Canada on February 8th for BFL, and I'll be at my weigh-in as you hopefully are reading this. It would mean the world to me and the boys if you and the boys could wish me luck, as it is my dream to be on the show, as it is literally the only thing I watch, thus making it my unrivaled favorite show by far, and I guarantee you I'll be on one day. But until that day, please tell me something I could do either on the way to the cage or in the cage or after the fight to progress my journey to immortalization on the wall. I am highly anticipating hearing back from you. I hope to be representing the MMA Hour crew in there. Your future pal and regular on the MMA Hour, Ryan Mozaffari. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Peace and love. Peace and love. Wow. Well, Ryan, you are fighting on February 8th. That's tomorrow for BFL. I wish you the best, my friend. Now let me just double check. Ryan, what's
Mozaffari?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had my eye on this one over at BFL against Sal Calveri.
Yeah, 1-0, right?
Yeah, 1-0 versus 0-1, Canadian on Canadian action. I mean, obviously BFL 79.
This is big.
Yeah, I mean, going down in Vancouver, we all know it. I mean, the fact that he's on the same card as Maxime Soucy and Radley De Silva is
even bigger.
Big. I mean, couple title fights here. They actually got a super lightweight championship. Scotty Stockman versus, obviously.
There's a whole breakdown. Might even be in the freaking Parlay Pals.
Yeah. I mean, if we can get a line on Ryan, I mean, it's a must play. I've been saying that all week.
Ryan, it's already written. It's already fait accompli. You've got this, my man. You're going to go out there. You're going to do the thing. And then when you do the thing, you're going to get on the microphone and someone on your team is going to record this. You're going to say, shout out to my boys, Ariel, GC, Rick, and Frank, and the whole MMA Hour crew. Shout out to the team back in New York. You've had my back since I was 1-0. I will be on the wall. But until then, much love to you all. You all believed in me when no one else did. And I can't wait to talk to you on the program. That's what's going to happen. I can't wait to see the video. It's already a done deal. It's already happening.
The best way, he also should kick it off. And when they go to interview him, they're like, Ryan, how was this win tonight? And he responds, who, me?
Yeah.
And then he goes,
when they intro him, he should say, who, me?
When the Bruce Buffer of Battlefield Fight
the
League
announcer announces him, just say, who, me?
screaming Ryan's name, he just looks at the camera and goes, hits a shrug and says, "Who, me?"
And look, if you want to walk out to Rick G to Profits remix of this song,
shout out.
Hey, we're in the NYC. Like you,
his whole fight just becomes a tribute. There's no elements that are not branded.
It's a banger. And look, he wanted the shout out. It's a banger. I mean, the whole place will be jumping.
If he wants to get on the wall, these are the sacrifices that need to be made. So, good luck. Good luck to Ryan,
my friend. Yeah,
seriously, good luck. All the respect in the world to make that walk.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel. So please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.